Hello there, I'm John Al, and today we're going to talk about compilers versus interpreters, as well as the difference between a .java and a .class file. Okay, so a computer contains a special program for translation called the compiler. Compiler takes code written in a programming language and creates machine code, also known as object code, that a computer will understand. This code is written in ones and zeros. This code is bound to binary format instructions particular to a computer type. So let's say we take our base language, like either Java in this case, or C++, or C, or Python, etc. The computer doesn't understand the actual language. Computers only read ones and zeros. So, rather than having to go through and manually interpret everything we want the computer to do, our compiler that's specific to our language will create object code or machine code that's ones and zeros that interprets the meaning to the specific computer. Now, the problem with the compiler, though, is that after it's been converted into machine code, it's generally only good for that computer. It has a hard time translating to different computer settings. There have been updates over the years that make this a little more feasible, but for a lot of programs, when you're making your machine code or your object code, object code and machine code are just different ways of saying the same thing. When you're making that, usually a lot will say like for which operating system are you using. So Windows, Linux, or derivative of Apple, or I think it's Ubuntu. Yeah. I heard about that one just recently, so forgive me if I mispronounced it. But the hard thing with that is you'd have to create a separate file that's optimized for all those systems. So, how would you do this on something like the internet that needs to be connected to all kinds of things that might have different systems or different processes, different browsers? How would you do this? So, rather than using a compiler for the internet, you'd use an interpreter. Interpreted languages, such as Java, as an example, do something a little different than the compiler. Interpreters introduced the byte level between source code and the programming language code. This allows the code to be broken down to an object code level on any computer, making it portable. This is made possible by the source code's interpreter program. In the case of Java, the Java virtual machine is the interpreter. So as long as bytecode Java file is accompanied by the Java virtual machine, the program will port to any computer for the most part. So, an interpreter takes your base language and turns it into something in between what the computer understands and your original file, the bytecode. Then it's accompanied by a special package called the interpreter. So it has a file and the interpreter. Then it can be ported to different systems, and when it reaches here, it then gets interpreted into a more object-oriented object code so that that specific computer can understand it. And this is how we're able to cross-platform our files for easy access across the internet. Now, what is the difference between a .java and .class, and why is it relevant to this particular moment? Okay, so .java files are your original files that have your ifs and thens and var's, etc., etc. It has the actual almost English language version of your file. The .class version of your file is a partially interpreted file that has the bytecode ready to go, meaning the .class version can be taken in by the virtual machine. So in your Java, your source code is saved as a .java file, and your compiled bytecode file created by the Java compiler. This compiled bytecode file is a .class file. To run this .class file, you need the Java virtual machine. Now, the Java virtual machine and the Java compiler are two separate things. So for easy installation, Oracle, the people who kind of maintain this and run it, they packaged it together into a JDK, a Java Development Kit. So as long as you install a Java Development Kit, then you're able to both compile your Java files and to run them, which is the difference between a .java and .class. So as a recap, a compiler takes higher level language that we write in and interprets it directly into object or machine code so that the computer can understand, while an interpreter takes higher level language and interprets it into bytecode, which the computer can't yet understand, but accompanied with the Java virtual machine can be interpreted to machine code, which any computer will be able to understand. But this Java virtual machine will interpret it into machine code specified for that computer, making it much more portable than this that will get stuck if it tries to port to another machine. As for .java and .class, a .java is the file where you actually write the program in. It includes the higher level language, and then the .class includes the bytecode, which will be interpreted by the Java virtual machine for later use. The Java virtual machine and the Java compiler are both bundled into a Java Development Kit, which can be downloaded from Oracle. And that is compilers versus interpreters and Java versus .class. Thank you for watching. It's been great to have you here. This is John Albert, John Al for short. My full name is Giancarlo Alberto Gutierrez, so John Al works just fine. So thank you for stopping by. If this helped you at all, then please like and subscribe the video, and hope to see you around for the next one. Bye bye.